I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Genesect. In the Carboniferous period, up to around 300 million years ago, the Earth had a much higher oxygen concentration. Creatures, including bugs and insects, were therefore both able and even required to evolve to larger sizes. Dragonflies as big as birds and centipedes as long as cars were commonplace. In the Pokemon world, modern-day bugs regularly grow to the size of creatures not seen in the real world since those prehistoric times. It makes you wonder, what horrors existed 300 million years ago in that universe, where Scyther and Golisopod are walking around today? One answer we saw in the first generation was Kabuto, a fossilized trilobite recreated with modern science. On the same island where those experiments were conducted, another creature was born, Mewtwo. Genesect, the final mythical Pokemon of the 5th generation, combines those two experiments, reviving an unknown fossil, but also upgrading it into a bug and steel-type cyborg. Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 tell us, "This Pokemon existed 300 million years ago. Team Plasma altered it and attached a cannon to its back." While Genesect's typing is always bug and steel, its signature move, Technoblast, can be fire, ice, electric, or water type, depending on the drive installed in Genesect as a held item. This speaks to Genesect's greatest strength, a wide coverage of attacking moves, letting it tear through any kind of opposing team. As a mythical, it has never been legal in official tournaments, but fans used it in competition to such an extent, it was banned. Welcome back to Miles on Mon, Genesect.
Now we're talking. What a way to see out Gen 5. Cool robot lasers. Now we are talking. This is... they've always had kind of robotic, metallic sort of designs, right? But this feels like a Gundam, like a mech, you know, like a villain would ride in this, because it looks like a big creepy bug. But yeah, really, really, really cool looking design. I love it in Smash as well, because again it just turns up and fires a big massive laser. That's always a plus. Yeah, is this one that came from space as well, or
no? It's like a fossil that's been revised, but then mechified.
Okay.
It's like a Robocop of a Kabutops, basically.
You're just making me love this guy more. I hope you realise that.
Hey, that's my mission. Luke plus Pokemon.
Yeah, and I love Genesect.
Friend of the show, Mikey from Pokemon Crossroads, has been in touch to tell us about Genesect's legacy in the trading card game. Genesect has received many noteworthy cards, such as Genesect GX, who saw some niche play during the Sun and Moon era of the TCG, thanks to its double drive ability to hold 2 Pokemon Tool cards. There is also Shining Genesect, who sees play in the fan-made Gym Leader Challenge format, where players play a single Pokemon type. In this case, Shining Genesect is played in Grass-linked decks, because it can do massive damage. Though we got some World Championship winning Genesects to talk about. The first Genesect to win a World Championship in the trading card game was actually hinted at a few episodes ago with Virizion EX. In 2014, Andrew Estrada took on the world using Virizion EX, who used Emerald Slash to do 50 damage to any Pokemon that got in its way. Meanwhile, it will accelerate 2 grass energy from the deck to a Pokemon on the bench. That Pokemon? Genesect EX. Genesect EX had the ability Red Signal, able to switch one of your opponent's Pokemon with their active Pokemon. Perfect, as you could now aim at Genesect EX's Megalo Cannon directly at the unsuspecting Pokemon in the active. But Genesect's World Championship titles don't end in 2014. That's because Genesect was part of the 6th place World Championship deck in 2022, and then World Championship winning deck in 2024, in a new VMAX Mew fusion deck. So what did Genesect do in these decks? Draw and Blast. Players will flood their bench with at least 3 Genesect V, put their hand down to as low as possible, and then draw more cards with Genesect V's Fusion Strike system. They will then play down their hand using various cards to use another Genesect V's ability. Rinse and repeat to draw more cards. Then they will finish off their turn by having Mew's Cross Fusion Strike to copy Genesect V's Technoblast to do at least 210 damage. This is exactly what Vance Kelly did to win the 2024 World Championship, to overcome famed TCG play Tord Reklev and become TCG Masters World Champion. Some Pokemon get all the love, and Genesect is one of them. Thanks, Mikey. Genesect met its inspiration Mewtwo in a feature-length film, Genesect and the Legend Awakened, in which they experienced a similar struggle with identity as a created creature. The name Genesect combines Genesis and insect, and also genetic, owing to its prehistoric origins and also its subsequent scientific upgrades. Its title is the Paleozoic Pokemon, the Paleozoic time period encompassing the Carboniferous age of giant insects. As a recovering arachnophobe, I sometimes struggle with creepy cruelties at the scale alive today. Imagining the monsters of the Pokemon world, or the giants of our own Earth's ancient history, might be a bit too much. Combine the two and, well, that's a monster I want to stay on the good side of. Original music for Luke Loves Pokemon is by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork is by Katie Groves. Funding is provided by listeners at Patreon. If you enjoy this podcast and want to check out other shows by me and my friends, head to podcastiopodcastius.org. I love hearing from listeners. Get in touch about upcoming Pokemon on Twitter or Facebook at Luke Loves PKMN, or on Blue Sky at Podcast Podcast. Drop a comment if you're watching the video, or a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That's the end of Unova and the 5th generation. I'll take a brief break to visit the UK, and soon we'll be back for Kalos and the 6th generation. And even if you don't feel like doing any of that, thank you so much just for listening. I love Genesect, and remember, I love you too.